Breeze Nation, what is good? It is your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate you guys for tuning in for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. On today's show, the Chicago Bears coaching staff is set. Gotta talk about what kind of impact that's going to have on this team, and the Bulls not doing anything, ladies and gentlemen. Literally just sitting around, not doing nothing, not trying to fix the team, not trying to make the team better, not trying to win basketball games, just doing stuff. We'll talk about all that more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Shout out to the chat. We got Suki Knows Best in here. Daniel Berry always popping in early on the show. Kenneth Rocha in here. Appreciate you for tuning in. Drop a Bardon in the chat as well, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love. Let's get this thing started, man. I mean, the staff is set. And this is a situation that I believe the Chicago Bears have not been in a very, very, very long time, because I think the name of the game has changed. I think the talk around this team has changed. I think that the belief around what could actually be accomplished with this team has changed. Why do I feel that way right now? When you look at the Chicago Bears and the staff that they put together, there is a very, very simple theme, and I've talked about this the entire time. And I think that it continues with their hire of Chad Morton. I believe that it continues with how they're looking to assess some of the positions in the room that maybe struggled last season. Now, the running game did not struggle. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Bears were struggling with the running game and different things like that. But going out and having somebody who keeps the continuity offensively that Shane Waldron is bringing in, somebody who's already speaking his language and was a player in the building, so knows how to position himself to say, hey guys, here's what we have going here. This is how we want to make this work. This is what we're going to do here. Boom. Somebody who speaks the language of the trenches, somebody who speaks the running back language. Chad Morton is not just any other guy. He's somebody who's been to the Pro Bowl as a kick returner. He's got the most kickoff returns for touchdowns in a single game. He's got the longest overtime kickoff return. He's got the most receptions in a playoff game by a rookie. He's got the most receptions in a playoff game, tied with 3 other people. So you've gone out now with another offensive hire and got somebody who has the experience in the room that speaks the language of these players. That's what I mean when I'm talking about development. That's what I mean when I'm talking about, okay, what are we going to sit here, or how are we going to sit here and get these guys to the next level? What conversation are we going to be having with our players to have them focus up and focus in on what's happening in the room? The Chicago Bears, to me, are doing things differently because they're not doing this from a, let's go get the guy that has the best, that comes from the tree that has a cute resume. And yes, Shane Waldron does come from a McVay, Shanahan style tree, right? So you can't say that he doesn't have that there. But to me, the conversation on Waldron has always been development. That's what I want to see. That's how I want to see the Chicago Bears go about their business. Development, finding that next guy, finding the guy that's going to, it's not even about, right, but, oh, we got to have a system that accentuates what the quarterback does. How about we develop the quarterback? And I said this on the Chicago Bears podcast today. And I think that this applies to what the Bears have not done here. Shout out to football at CF Candy with the super chat. Said Brad Bixby was well connected. Did you see his mailbag? I didn't see his mailbag today. This is not about building, going out there and just developing a quarterback. This is not about going out there and just developing wide receivers, running backs, linemen. This is about developing a system that can nurture players and get them to the next level. And I implore people to look at the two teams that are in the Super Bowl. That is what I believe Ryan Poles is trying to build here. And that's why I feel a lot more confident in what we're watching with this staff here. Look at the two teams that are in the Super Bowl. Look at the teams that consistently put out good quarterback play. Unfortunately, look at the Packers. Right? You're talking about teams that have allowed the quarterback to come in and become the generational guy. We can sit here and we can talk about play calling and this and that and team friendly things and quarterback friendly play calls and different. No. You're talking about teams that allowed a guy to step into a situation where he could become the generational guy. You see Pat Mahomes, he steps into a situation where that's an AFC championship team. He steps into a situation where that's a generational type of coach that's in the building in Andy Reid. So now he's getting the tutelage from Andy Reid, but also he's getting the opportunity to step into a situation that is successful. Brock Purdy, that situation wasn't built for Purdy. Where the Bears are at right now, that wasn't built for, where the Niners are at right now, that wasn't built for Purdy. That was built for Garoppolo. Garoppolo was too hurt. We got to move on from Garoppolo. Not feeling Garoppolo right now. Don't think he's the answer. Don't think he's the right move. Okay, guess what? We're going all in. We're going to get our quarterback. We got Trey Lance. Trey Lance has the same injury issues. Trey Lance can't stay healthy. Okay. They go through 4 different quarterbacks throughout the season until they get to Brock Purdy. Not losing at any point in this, by the way. Until they get to Brock Purdy. Now you get Brock Purdy in the building. And is he all of a sudden this amazing quarterback that's a lead in every level? No, he's not. He's nice. He gets the ball to Debo, hands the ball off to CMC, gets the ball to Ayuk, makes some really nice plays. But he has the opportunity to learn. He has the opportunity to develop. He has the opportunity to take the next step because those things are already in place. That's what it feels like the coaching staff for the Chicago Bears that's being built is going to be, especially when you look at it on the offensive side. That's what it feels like the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears has the potential to be. The team as a whole has the potential to be, because I can sit here and I can tell you, right, why do you think we have the pop-up years? Why do we have the seasons where all the Bears offense is cooking and boom, and we're going to do this and we're going to make this happen, and then the next year it just falls off a cliff? Because you didn't have the system that was able to sustain the development that you had in place. Because when you're able to sustain that development, it doesn't fall off of a cliff. We've seen 2 quarterbacks develop that are generational. Generational, right? And not even air quotes. They're generational quarterbacks. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Those are your generational guys, which is a word that I wish we could get out of draft coverage so much. I wish we could get generational out of the room and we could get a quarterback-friendly system out of the room. Those are the 2 football terms that make me want to pull my hair out every single day, because who wants to be in a quarterback-unfriendly system? I'm just saying. Who wants to be in a quarterback-unfriendly? It's so stupid. But anyway, those are your 2 guys that are generational. Pat Mahomes told you that last season, was the first season where everything slowed down for him and everything began to click. Last season, you know how many Super Bowls he's been to? You know how many AFC title games he's been to? He said last season it slowed down. Now, of course, there are things that ended up being slower for him and different things like that. But like when you're talking about developing a quarterback, you have development in place. You have people that can develop in place. That's why I was very gung-ho about going to get Greg Roman, who everybody was trashing until the until the Ravens didn't run the football enough. That's why I was very in on going to get Greg Roman, because everywhere he leaves, he develops a quarterback. Shane Waldron seems like he's now, right? He's getting the boys together. He's getting the band back together. Some of these guys from the Rams days and things like that. I love that. You go out and you get Thomas Brown. You get Chad Morton today, right? Like you're going out and getting those pieces. And you're talking about developing players. And here is the question that I will ask a lot of people in the chat, because I think you do need to prepare yourselves for this, because we always talk about the piece that's in place. We never talk about the piece that is before that. We never talk about the piece that sets things up, because there has to be somebody who takes the shots. There has to be somebody who takes the lumps. And guess what? Unfortunately, for many people, that might be Justin Fields. I want Justin Fields here. I believe Justin Fields can be a good quarterback. I believe he's a quarterback that can be developed. Don't hear me wrong when I say this. By the way, over 100 in the chat. Nah. Over 100, hit that like button. Let's get them likes up. 100 people in this mug, 29 likes. 109 people in here, 29 likes. The question that you realistically have to ask yourself is Justin Fields the next, the guy who becomes the Pat Mahomes, the Brock Purdy, the Caleb Williams, the CJ Stroud? Is he that guy? Or is he the guy that takes the lumps to set those things up? Because before Pat Mahomes, there was Alex Smith. Alex Smith was getting to AFC title games. Alex Smith was doing a lot of winning. Was he managing the game to get there? 100%. You can't say he wasn't. But is Justin Fields the Alex Smith in this situation? Is he the Drew Bledsoe in this situation? Or is he the answer in this situation? That's the part that you do have to ask yourself, because guess what? There's still a lot of holes on this team. There's still a lot of things that need to be done. There's still a lot of pieces that need to be put in place before you can sit there and go out and say that, oh, all of a sudden he's going to be a generational piece and he's going to be, again, generational. He's going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. And yeah, he's taking the lumps. He's the one that took the shots on the coaching. He's the one that went through the Luke Getzys. He's the one that had to go through the Matt Eberfluses. He has been screwed here in Chicago at every turn. And if you don't believe that, I have no idea what you're watching. But that does not mean that he won't be the guy that has to continue taking those lumps while the next guy steps up. Because Alex Smith went through the ugly years in KC before they got to the great years, and he didn't get to win a ring. Drew Bledsoe went through the ugly years in New England before it got to the great years, and he didn't get to be a part of that championship run that was consistent. He ends up getting traded away. Jimmy Garoppolo, he got to a Super Bowl, did a lot of those things right. I think that they've got a better quarterback in place now and a better team in place now and could actually go into the Super Bowl and win this game. That's the difference here that I think you do have to ask. And with that, that might mean the Bears. And I've said this, I truly believe the Chicago Bears will draft a quarterback this year. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be at the top of the draft, because I think the draft haul that you can get is so much that you can't risk passing it up. I think the draft, as strongly as people feel about you have to move on from Justin Fields and go get the number 1 pick, is how strongly I feel about the Chicago Bears have to trade this pick, because you're never going to have an opportunity more like this to go out there and build KC, to go out there and build San Francisco, where you can insulate the players that need development. I don't believe that you're ever going to be able to have the opportunity that you have right now again. But I do believe that the Chicago Bears will look somewhere in this draft, maybe late first round, early second round, I mean, maybe even third round, and say, hey, guess what? I'm very interested in this young man's development, and I think that we can go out there and we can put him in a position where he can develop this in seasons to come. Right, Pat Mahomes was drafted. Alex Smith was still in place, and I get it. I see the people in the chat, right? Ebony Sales in here saying, "Yeah, this is he's no Alex Smith." I'm not telling you that he's Alex Smith. I'm saying, is he the person that will be in the position that Alex Smith was in, to take the lumps, maybe see the team get to success? Your team has to move into the right direction. If you're talking about 9 wins, 10 wins coming out of next season, but he might not be the one that ends up being the quarterback holding up the Super Bowl trophy. That's a real possibility. I'm a Fields fan. I would love to have Justin Fields be here and win the championship for us. I would love to see him develop into the quarterback that I believe that he is, without all the struggles and different things like that that have gone on here. Doesn't mean that he will. You aren't getting as much this time. The class is too fat. I don't believe that. I think that there's a lot of people, very much like many of the Caleb Williams fans are, who think that this is a generational talent. I will say this: the gap between Caleb Williams and Drake May is a gap. You can't sit there and say that they're close in production. So because you have the number 1 overall pick, I do think that Ryan Poles yet again has the NFL by the balls. I think he's got an opportunity to go out there and really just say, you know what, give me your best offer. I think there's going to be I think that there's going to be a bidding war over this first overall pick for Caleb Williams, because I think there are teams that are going to look at it very much like the Bears have in the past, that no matter what is on your team, this guy is going to step onto the field and he's going to make you a contender. I think the Giants will be a name to watch for. I think the Broncos will be a name to watch for, because it's not like Sean Payton's going to sit here and wait on the next quarterback to show up 10 years down the line, right? Like I think that I think there's a multitude of teams that are going to want this top pick, and yeah, maybe you're willing to take Drake May or you're willing to take Jaden Daniels, but they're not going to look at it as if this guy can walk on the court, or walk on the field CJ Stroud wise, and be able to just take over the team, and all of a sudden you're going to see success. They feel that way about Caleb. And a lot of sources around the NFL have corroborated that. A lot of sources around the NFL are looking at, you know, what the capital is, and it is believed that the number 1 overall draft pick this year for the Chicago Bears will get an even bigger haul than what the Bears got last season. Courtney Cronin reported that a couple of weeks ago. But that doesn't mean that that's the guy that's going to win, right? That's the part about this that is interesting to me. That's the part about this that does have me asking the question, who is going to be the quarterback that eventually does hold up the Lombardi trophy? Hit that like button if you agree. That's the part that has me asking the question, who is going to be the Chicago Bears quarterback who ends up leading them to the promised land? And is it going to be a Pat Mahomes situation? Is it going to be a Brock Purdy situation? Or are you going to see, right, what CJ Stroud is going through this year and hope that you can just build around a guy that's got an immense amount of talent? But I'll tell you what, very rarely do we look back at Super Bowl teams and say, yeah, the quarterback carried. Very rarely. Usually when we look at those Super Bowl teams where the quarterback carries, they don't win the Super Bowl. Everybody's always like, well, you know, the dual threat quarterbacks can't win the Super Bowl and things like, oh, look at what Cam Newton did and how you want to know why Cam Newton didn't win the Super Bowl? Because he was the best player on his team. And watch this Super Bowl. I don't believe this Super Bowl is going to be a high scoring Super Bowl. You got Pat Mahomes in this Super Bowl. You've got Brock Purdy in this Super Bowl. You're going to have a ton of passing opportunities and things like that. But these are two elite defenses. These are two of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. You think that they're going to just sit there and let you go out there and throw the ball all over the yard? I think we're in for a 17-14 Super Bowl. Pat, did you see the article that Lawrence Holm talked about on 670 to score yesterday? I put it in a Discord where all the draft experts had Deshaun Kaiser ranked as the #1 QB in 2017. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that as well. Listen, believe the draft experts if you want. I mean, like, and I'm not saying that they're not experts. I'm not saying that they don't go out there and do a good job evaluating some of these guys. They miss more than they hit. Guess what? So do GMs. The great GMs don't. I'm not going to sit here and destroy the draft. And now I will say you have to sit there and, you know, take what they say with a grain of salt. I would say if you're somebody who has an eye for the sport, do your own evaluation. You know, talk your own talk. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to sit here. I'm going to look at all these people that all these guys evaluated and put all this stuff out about. And to me, I'm going to come up with my mindset, right? Like I'm going to say, hey, look, this is how I feel about this player. This is what I believe about this player. I looked at Darnell Wright's tape last year. I was praying we got Darnell Wright. If we went right tackle, if we went left tackle, I wanted Broderick Jones. If we went 3 technique, I wanted who's old boy that ended up on the I think of his name. His name's slipping me. He ended up on Tampa Bay this year, rookie monster coming through the middle. I think he went to Georgia. And you gotta do your own evaluation as well. And sometimes you just gotta trust what your eyes are seeing. That's the one thing about Chicago, right? There's a lot of fans here that have no idea what they're talking about. And there's a lot of fans that have a good idea what they're talking about. There's a lot of fans here that have watched such football because we're all trying to figure out. You know what I mean? We're all sitting here trying to figure out how to find the next quarterback, who's going to be the answer. But you know how you do it? You put 5 fat guys in front of them that are 5 of the best fat guys you've ever seen. You add a running game in with that. Doesn't have to be the best running game. The guy on the Bucs, yeah, he's a rookie on the Bucs. He's a 3 technique up the middle. I don't know if y'all, he is on the Bucs, right? Yeah, he's on the Bucs, I believe. I can't think of his name right now. Caleb something? I want to say Kalijah Cansey. Shout out Chef Matt. Chef Matt got me right there. Kalijah Cansey, dog. But yeah, I feel like the Bears are in a situation right now where you can sit there and say the path to development is in finding the magic man. I think you can honestly sit there and say that the path to the Chicago Bears being successful isn't going out there and finding the magical quarterback that's the answer there. You got to find a way to build teams around it. How do you have the long-term success? How do you have the Raiders, or I'm sorry, what's the San Francisco success? How do you have the Kansas City success? They have situations that are set up. Is the stream lagging a little bit? I see it on my side too. What the heck is going on here, man? Got a little lag in the stream. It's always something, dog. Anytime I try something new, got a little lag in the stream. Did it freeze? Oh, now it's trying to find its way back. Working through some kinks, y'all. It's not your internet. Working through some kinks. Trying a new setup here. Trying a new setup. But what I will say is this when it comes to the Chicago Bears, and then I'll switch topics here, is I feel like this coaching staff might be the right staff to be in place. And I'm talking about the guys under Flus. Y'all know how I feel about Flus. Y'all know my feelings on Flus, right? I feel like there's some question marks there. I feel like there's some struggles there. I feel like I would like to see a ton of development from the head coach. But sometimes just having the staff under him, pause. That was crazy. Sometimes just having the coaching staff under him, should I say, can elevate a leader to the next level. And maybe this is how we get the most out of Flus. Maybe this is how we get the most out of the guy that's at the head of the helm, or that's at the helm of all of this. Maybe this is the answer. So we'll see, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Gotta do one thing real quick, and then we could jump into this conversation on the Chicago Bulls. My God. But first, gotta tell you guys all about Underdog Fantasy. Appreciate Underdog Fantasy being a sponsor for the the Windy City Breeze. Almost missed on my podcast there. Make sure you guys are tuned in with us over on Underdog Fantasy, man. Remember, I want to tell you guys the easiest way to get in on some of the NFL action right now. It's Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just pick higher than or lower than your favorite or least favorite players, and you can win up to 20 times your money on a single night. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy to use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry and get every pick right. Take home some cold, hard cash. And all you got to do is use the promo code TWCB when you sign up and get your first deposit doubled up to $500. That's right, $500, ladies and gentlemen. Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. No more of that season-long stuff, dog. No more of doing the entire season and, oh my goodness, we got to watch all of this and I got to play. No. You're playing that night. No waivers, no trades, no lineup setting. So there's no stress of league management aspect after you draft. Underdog Fantasy lets you draft a fantasy team in just minutes. Sign up now with the code TWCB and you'll deposit your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit of $10 or more. Deposit $100 and get $100 free. Tune in with us over on Underdog Fantasy as well. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love, man. If you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Yeah, Levante. No, that was a crazy pause. That was still a pause. That was insane. One thing that I do want to talk about with this Chicago teams here, dog. The Chicago Bulls are just, I have no answers, bro. I have no answers for this team. The report is now, per Casey Johnson, that the Bulls are going to be the Bulls, man. They're going to stand pat. They're going to be the exact same team that they've been the entire time. I mean, like, they're not looking to make any major trades as the report comes in. And that just sucks, dog. Like, that's just one of those things where it's like, I see, and you guys notice, right? Half the people dipped out of here. I'm not mad at them, right? Like, I have a responsibility to talk about this dog water team, but it's like, this is a situation for the Bulls right now where what are you doing? Where are you heading to? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to accomplish here? Are you just trying to wait until young players end up getting to the next level? Are you just trying to find the right way to go? Like what's the goal here? Because my goal as a Bulls fan is to see a team continue to win. My goal as a fan of the team is to try and see a team go out there and take the next step. Heck, with the Bears, we're at least talking about them taking the next step possibly. What is the goal with building this team? I'm looking directly at Acme. I'm looking directly at Mark Eversley. What's the goal here? Just existing in the NBA? And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm fine with not tanking. I am probably the only person in the world that is fine with not watching a basketball team tank, because you know what? I don't believe that that's the way that you get to the next level. I just don't. I don't believe that that's how you build a successful team. But you're going to tell me that in a situation where the guy that you pay the most doesn't want to be here, doesn't want to play for the coach, in a situation where DeMar DeRozan and you are far apart on money and years, you're not going to make any major moves. That makes no sense. Like, there's not even it feels like you're playing GM on the fly at this point. And I get it. You don't want to take a loss in the Zach LaVine deal, but you know what you're taking a loss in? Just existing in the NBA right now. What are we talking about here when it comes to not making moves, not getting deals done? What? There's no reason to sit here and continue to stand pat with things, with players that clearly aren't leading you to a successful path. Do you think that Zach LaVine's magically going to come back and this team's going to just figure it out? Here we go. Boom. We're hitting the ground running. Easy money. Let's go get, like, what are we talking about? And you're not even picking a direction with the players you have on the team. Okay. You don't want to have Zach LaVine on the team. Zach LaVine doesn't want to be on the team. You don't want to make any moves at the trade deadline. Fine. Boom. But you're not going to play the young guys who could take you in the right direction. Because when Zach LaVine comes back, and when Patrick Williams comes back, and Torrey Craig comes back, guess who's not getting minutes? Julian Phillip ain't getting minutes. Dalen Terry ain't getting minutes. And I'm not sitting here saying that I'm like beating my chest, you got to play these guys 20 minutes. But like, the conversation to me on just going out there to exist in the NBA, that is not the goal. I understood it when you were building this up, trying to rebuild this team, trying to right the ship, get things back on schedule. I understood that part, right? We were in a horrible place as a team. We were in a horrible place as an organization. You had to make the organization interesting again. Cool. I get that. You've done that. What's the next step? That's the part that I'm asking. What's the next step? Because there doesn't seem to be another step with this Chicago Bulls team. It seems like these are the steps. We see an entire journey ahead of us, and we're just going to sit down and go, well, that was good enough. V-Dog question, Pat, are you surprised, bro? I'm not, because everybody's job is safe. Jerry's not going to fire people, so what's the point? That's true. You're not wrong. That's one of those things where you sit there and you look at the Chicago Bulls and you just go, yeah, I mean, like, we're good enough. We're here. We're going to be here. This is as far as we've made it in the league. What are you doing? We're competing. What are you competing for? You know. What are you trying to accomplish? You know. I'm not surprised by anything the Chicago Bulls are doing because this is the team that they've told us that they were going to be. I'm surprised by the fact that the Chicago Bulls aren't looking to go out there and take the next step. The next step could be on your team. The next step could be the youth that you have. The next step could be the players that you won't let get up off of the bench. That's what I'm surprised at. I'm surprised that you have no direction within the pieces you already have. Fine, you don't want to trade Levine, fine. Right? You don't want to move on from Zach Levine? Okay, all right. That seems weird to me, but fine. But you have players on your team right now. You have players that currently play for your team that are getting nothing from the G League at this point. You have players that are currently playing. Then you're going to send Julian Phillips down. Adama Sanago is down there. These guys are NBA ready guys. When they get on the court, they know where to be. They know how to move. They know how to get to their spot. They know how to attack at their spot. They know what position they need to play. They know the role that they're in. These are rookie guys on your team right now. Dalen Terry, it took him, what, 2 years to get to that point? And so for me, that's the part that I look at where I say, okay, you want to build young, you want to have a young athletic team, you want to run out, you want to move in it, and you don't play those guys. And I believe that there are issues on both sides here, right? It's not just Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan to me is who Billy Donovan is. Billy Donovan to me is he's a mid coach in the NBA. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. At times he had better players. With better players, mid coaches are good coaches. With worse players, mid coaches are bad coaches. So you have to sit there and put better players around. If you're going to have Billy Donovan, put better players on the team. But find the better players. You might have the better players here, and you don't want to play them. I don't know, man. It's sad. It's sad, dog. It's one of those things where you felt so confident about a GM coming in, and I think the one thing that most of us pray for with Ryan Poles is that this doesn't turn into a situation like what, because remember Acme got here, it's like boom, we're making moves, boom, we're exciting, boom, we're back in the East, boom, top of the East, oh snap, injuries hit us. Okay, how we gonna navigate those injuries? AK's got a plan. Here we go, boom, we're back. All right, we're fighting a little bit, but like, you know what I mean? And now we're in year 3 of this, and we're like, dude, what are you doing? The stuff you did in year 1 was cute. How do you keep doing that? The stuff you did in year 1, that was cool. I like that. Like, I loved what we saw there. And I know you can't do that every year, but are you going to do something? Can you like wake up a little bit and just, and now it just feels like you're too okay with being in the middle. And I said this when AK got here, the Chicago Bulls will never go through a rebuild. The Chicago Bulls will never blow this thing up. Why? Denver didn't. Denver waited. Denver was sitting there and it was just like, oh, here we go. Yeah, we got a team. And yep, we got who we got. We got Andre Iguodala. Here we go, boys. We're gonna ride this out for a little while. Who else we got? Oh, Paul Millsap's in the building, baby. Paul Millsap, here we go. Yeah, I mean, like you sit there and you're mediocre for a while, and then you luck into Nikola Jokic and you have some good years. And that's how they do things there, which is fine. I'm fine with being competitive. But I think the thing for me is it can't be years of just, yeah, you're okay with that. It can't be years of just, no, we know that doesn't work, but we're going to just ride it out. It can't be years of, we know that player's not happy here, but he's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It just can't be. You have to find ways to improve. And I mean, heck, I would say that they have improved in player development, but the part about the player development that I want to see is you put the players on the court so that they can continue to develop. That's player development. The dumbest thing in the world is when you just go, oh, we got player development out here. Here we go. We're good. Yeah, we got player development. Where's the players at? Don't worry about it. They're on the bench. Don't you want to put them on the floor? Nah. Calm down. Development, though. I forget who said it. I want to say it was, maybe it was Paul George. I don't remember who said it, but it basically was just like, there's no better opportunity to develop than NBA players, playing against NBA players, working against NBA players. And if you've got players on your team, and I think this is my biggest issue with what we're doing right now, I feel like we have players on our team. White has taken a step. The only reason you see any kind of life in this Chicago Bulls team is because Kobe White has taken a step. That's it. That's the only reason you feel like this team can do anything. And I just feel like if you're sitting in a place of we're good enough and we just hope something magical happens, you're going to be in the same place forever. It is what's the it's what the conversation I was having with the quarterback position. It's the conversation I was having with the quarterback position. You're sitting there, yep, we're just going to find the right guy. It's going to magically happen. Don't worry about it. We'll get it together. We got him. We'll get him. But you don't put the pieces around him to be successful. You don't have the coach in place for him to be successful. You don't have the team in place for those guys to be successful. Come on now. That's the situation you're in with the Chicago Bulls right now. You're waiting for something magical to happen, and you're not looking to build something that can become magical. But hey, this game didn't tipped off, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Unfortunately, I have to watch these Chicago Bulls to, cover them over on Locked On Bulls. We'll be live over there as well. As always, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. Probably going to try and refine this and get this thing back to where it was. I don't know. The internet was going in and out a little bit, y'all was saying, or the signal was going in and out. So we'll see if it ends up being... we'll see what ends up happening with that. I don't know what's going on with that. I'll try and get that sorted out. But as always, man, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content, Chicago Bulls content. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5